My name's Sienna, and I'm 24 years old, living in a cozy suburban house in Atlanta, Georgia. Growing up in a dusty little town a few hours away, life wasn't exactly a fairy tale. My mom worked two jobs, waitressing by day, cleaning offices by night just to keep the lights on. We never had much, and I learned early on that if you want something, you've got to fight for it. That's probably why I poured everything into my marriage to Mateo, the man I thought was my forever. He's a first-generation Mexican-American, all charm and big dreams, with these warm brown eyes that made me feel like I was home the first time we met. We got married a couple of years back, and I swore I'd build a life with him that was steady, secure, everything my childhood wasn't. Mateo's family is tight-knit, and I wanted so badly to be a part of it. But there was this wall between us. Language. He and his mom, Rosa, would slip into Spanish, laughing over memories or family gossip, and I'd just smile, feeling like an outsider in my own home. I hated that feeling, like I was on the edge of their world, not quite invited in. So I decided to do something about it. I started learning Spanish in secret. Online courses, late-night flashcards, even practicing in the mirror when Mateo was at work. I didn't tell him or Rosa because, honestly, I was shy. What if I messed up a word? And they laughed. What if they thought I was trying too hard? But I got good, really good. I could follow their conversations, pick up on the rhythm of their words, even catch the little jokes they thought I didn't get. That Sunday, I was buzzing with excitement. Rosa was coming over for dinner, and I'd spent all morning in our tiny kitchen, chopping peppers and stirring sauce, determined to make a meal that'd make her proud. I'm a graphic designer by trade, always sketching ideas or tweaking logos, but cooking? That's where I pour my heart out. I wanted Rosa to see me, really see me, as part of the family. Mateo was out picking her up, and I could already picture us around the table, laughing, maybe even me slipping in a Spanish phrase to surprise them. I'd been practicing Gracias por venir, Rosa, all week, imagining her smile when I nailed the accent. When they walked in, the house smelled like roasted garlic and fresh herbs. Rosa hugged me, her perfume sharp and floral, and said, "Oh, Sienna, it's so nice to be here." Her voice was warm, but there was always this edge to it, like she was sizing me up. She handed me a bag of bagels and croissants, her go-to for our little gatherings, and I thanked her, setting them on the counter. Mateo kissed my cheek, his hand lingering on my shoulder, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. "Food's almost ready," I called out, stirring the pot one last time. "Y'all sit. I'll bring it over." As I plated the food, I heard them talking in the living room, their voices low, slipping into Spanish. I didn't think much of it at first. Mateo and Rosa always did that when they got caught up in conversation. But then I caught a few words that made my stomach twist. "Her cooking," Rosa said, her tone sharp. "Why didn't you make the food, Mateo?" My heart sank. I'd spent hours on that meal, picking recipes I thought she'd love. I froze, ladle in hand, straining to hear more. Mateo's voice came next, softer but firm. "Don't worry, Mama, I handle most of it. We don't need her messing it up." I stood there, the steam from the pot warming my face, but inside, I felt cold. Messing it up? Rosa always complimented my cooking to my face, said it reminded her of home. Was she lying? And my Mateo was going along with it? I wanted to march in there and ask what they meant, but something held me back. Maybe it was the years of feeling like I had to prove myself, or maybe it was the fear of hearing something I couldn't unhear. Instead, I took a deep breath, grabbed my phone, and opened the translation app I'd used to practice Spanish. I needed to be sure I wasn't imagining things. I carried the plates to the dining room, forcing a smile as I set them down. Rosa was perched at the table, her dark hair pulled back tight, sipping tea like she was judging a pageant. Mateo leaned back in his chair, scrolling through his phone, but his eyes flicked up to meet mine, and for a second, I thought I saw guilt. "Smells amazing, babe," he said, but his words felt hollow after what I'd just heard. I nodded, sitting across from them, my phone tucked under the table, the translation app still running, catching every word. Rosa switched back to Spanish, her voice dropping low. "I can't stand her cooking, Mateo. Why are we here eating this, when we could have gone to a cafe?" My chest tightened, but I kept my face neutral, stirring my tea like I wasn't listening. Mateo sighed. Mama, we agreed to speak English, so Sienna doesn't feel left out, remember? Rosa laughed, a sharp little sound, and waved her hand. Oh, forgive me, Mijo. I was just saying how good this looks, Sienna. I'm surprised Mateo made it. She smiled at me, all teeth, and I wanted to scream. She was lying to my face, and Mateo was letting her. Oh, don't worry, I said, my voice steady despite the knot in my stomach. Y'all speak whatever feels right. I'm fine. I wanted them to keep talking, to dig their own grave. Rosa raised an eyebrow, like she was testing me, then leaned toward Mateo. We need to talk about the plan, she said in Spanish, her words fast and urgent. Tomorrow's the day, Mateo. You have to be ready. My heart pounded. Plan? What plan? I glanced at my phone, the app confirming every word. Mateo hissed, Not now, Mama. I'll handle it. But Rosa wasn't letting up. Frank's cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's ours if we get there first. Your cousin's sniffing around, and we can't let him beat us. I nearly dropped my spoon. Frank, Mateo's great-uncle, owned a stunning cabin in North Georgia, the kind of place you see in magazines. Log walls, wraparound porch, views that make you forget the world. I'd only met Frank a few times, but he'd always been kind, telling me stories of his real estate days over coffee, saying I reminded him of his younger self. He'd promised to pass the cabin to someone in the family, someone who deserved it. I thought Mateo and I were building a life together, that we'd share dreams like that. But now, they were plotting to take it behind my back. Mateo's voice dropped lower. She doesn't know, Mama. I told her I'm going out of town for work. Rosa smirked. Good. She's too busy with her little designs to notice. Look at her, glued to her phone. I bit my lip, pretending to scroll, my hands shaking. They thought I was clueless, stupid even. Then Rosa said something that cut deeper than the rest. You're too young for her, Mateo. That cabin's our ticket out. You can sell it, live free, have fun. Why stay stuck with her? Mateo didn't argue. He just said, I know, Mama. I'm tired of this life. The cabin's my way out. My throat burned, tears pricking my eyes, but I couldn't break down. Not yet. Growing up, I'd learned to swallow hurt. When kids at school mocked my thrift store clothes, when Mom was too tired to notice I needed her. This was worse, though. The man I loved, the one I'd stayed up late learning Spanish for, wanted to escape me, and his mother was cheering him on. I excused myself, mumbling about checking the dessert, and slipped into the kitchen. My hands were trembling, but my mind was racing. I wasn't going to let them walk all over me. Pacing by the counter, I spotted Rosa's purse, left open like she didn't care. My heart thudded, but I didn't hesitate. I grabbed her phone, no passcode, thank God, and found Frank's number in her contacts. I sent it to myself, then deleted the message from her phone, my fingers moving like they had a mind of their own. I didn't know exactly what I'd do with it, but I knew I needed an edge. Back at the table, they were still talking, oblivious, their voices dripping with smugness. I hit record on my app, capturing every word, every insult. If they were going to betray me, I'd make sure they paid for it. Back at the table, I kept my head down, picking at my food while my phone recorded every word Mateo and Rosa thought I couldn't understand. My heart was a mess. Part of me wanted to throw the plates across the room and demand answers, but the part of me that grew up scraping by, always planning one step ahead, told me to stay cool. I'd learned that from Mom, watching her juggle bills and still find a way to smile. If I was going to outsmart them, I needed more than their words. I needed proof, and I needed a plan. Rosa was still going on in Spanish, her voice sharp like she was giving orders. The flight's tomorrow afternoon, Mateo. You sure you can slip away without her asking questions? Mateo nodded, glancing at me like I was just part of the furniture. Yeah, I've got it covered. I'll say it's a work thing. She's too wrapped up in her projects to care. I forced a smile, passing the sugar like nothing was wrong, but inside, I was burning. How could he talk about me like that? Like I was some annoying obligation he couldn't wait to ditch. Then Rosa leaned in closer, her eyes glinting. Frank's cabin is worth millions. We fix it up, sell it, and we're set. No more scraping by at the bakery. You can leave this life, Mateo. Start over. Find someone who fits you better. My stomach churned. I thought of all the nights I'd stayed up late, tweaking designs to help pay our bills, thinking we were building something together. And here they were, plotting to cash in on a future that didn't include me. I excused myself again, saying I needed to grab more napkins, and slipped into the kitchen. My phone was still recording, tucked in my pocket, but I needed more. When I came back, I noticed Mateo had left his phone on the table while he helped Rosa with her chair. My pulse raced. This was my chance. I pretended to clear a plate, brushing past his phone, and caught a glimpse of an open email with flight details. I didn't have time to read it, but I heard Rosa ask, "What's your laptop password again? I want to check the tickets." Mateo muttered, "It's Blue Ridge Dreams 22. Don't tell anyone." I froze, memorizing it, my mind already spinning with possibilities. That night, after Rosa left and Mateo was snoring on the couch, I crept into our home office. My hands were shaking as I opened his laptop, typing in the password. Sure enough, there were the flight details, Atlanta to Asheville, leaving tomorrow afternoon. Feeling a mix of guilt and defiance, I logged into the airline site and pushed their flight to the day after tomorrow. It wasn't much, but it would buy me time. I closed the laptop, my heart pounding like I'd just run a mile. I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was fighting back. Before I went to bed, I texted Frank from the number I'd grabbed from Rosa's phone. "Hey, it's Sienna. Can we talk tomorrow? It's important." I didn't want to spill everything over text. It felt too risky. Instead, I lay awake, replaying their words in my head. "Too young for her," Rosa had said. "Start over," she'd told him. I thought about the day Mateo proposed, under a peach tree in a park, promising we'd face the world together. Had that been a lie too? Tears stung my eyes, but I pushed them back. I'd cried enough growing up, waiting for things to get better. This time, I was going to make them better. The next morning, I woke up before Mateo and turned off his alarm. It felt petty, but I wanted him to feel the chaos he'd planned for me. I packed a small bag and left for a hotel downtown, telling myself I couldn't stay in a house built on lies. As I drove through Atlanta's busy streets, the weight of what I'd heard settled in. But so did a spark of something else, resolve. I wasn't the naive girl they thought I was. I'd worked too hard, fought too long, to let them take everything from me. By the time I checked into the hotel, I was ready to call Frank and lay it all bare. The hotel room was quiet, just the hum of the AC and the distant buzz of Atlanta traffic outside. I sat on the edge of the bed, my phone in hand, staring at Frank's number. My stomach was in knots, but I couldn't back out now. I'd recorded everything. Mateo and Rosa's plan to claim the Blue Ridge cabin, their insults, their smug laughter. It was all on my phone, proof of the betrayal that had shattered the life I thought we had. I took a deep breath and called Frank. "Sienna, darlin', what's going on?" Frank's voice was warm, like always, but I could hear the concern. He'd always been kind to me, sharing stories of his real estate days over coffee, telling me I had the grit to make it big. I spilled everything, the dinner, the Spanish I wasn't supposed to understand, the plan to cut me out of the cabin deal. My voice cracked as I told him how Mateo wanted to escape me, how Rosa called me a burden. "I'm sending you the recordings," I said, my fingers trembling as I hit send. "Listen to them, Frank. Please." We hung up so he could review the evidence, and I paced the room, my mind racing. What if he didn't believe me? What if he thought I was exaggerating? But when Frank called back, his voice was heavy, like he'd aged a decade. "Sienna, I'm sick to my stomach. Mateo and Rosa, they were family. How could they do this to you?" I swallowed hard, relief mixing with the ache in my chest. "I don't know, Frank. I thought I was part of their family too." He didn't hesitate. "That cabin's yours, Sienna. I was going to pass it to someone who'd cherish it, someone with a good heart. That's you, not them. They're not getting a dime." I was stunned, my mouth dry. "Frank, I don't know what to say." He chuckled, but it was sad. "You don't have to say anything. You're tough as nails, kid. Don't let their ugliness dim your shine. We talked a bit more, and he promised to ignore their calls. I thanked him, my voice thick, and hung up, feeling like I'd just won a war I didn't want to fight. That morning, I knew Mateo would wake up to chaos. I'd turned off his alarm, and with their flight pushed back, he'd be scrambling. Sure enough, around noon, my phone lit up with his name. I let it ring twice before answering, keeping my voice calm. Hey, what's up? Mateo was frantic. Sienna, where are you? My alarm didn't go off, and I'm late for, a meeting with Mama. Why'd you leave? I could hear the airport in the background, voices and announcements echoing. Oh, I needed a little me time, I said, casual, like I hadn't just flipped his world upside down. You seemed busy, so I figured you wouldn't mind. He muttered something about needing a heads up, but I cut in. Yeah, a heads up would have been nice for me too, Mateo. There was a pause, and I could almost hear his brain catching up. Before he could respond, Rosa's voice came through, sharp and panicked. Sienna, what did you do? I know you messed with our flight. I leaned back against the hotel pillow, a strange calm settling over me. If by messed with, you mean changed the date to help you out, then yeah, I did. I heard you needed Mateo's help moving stuff, so I figured you'd want more time. Rosa sputtered, and Mateo grabbed the phone. Sienna, stop whatever you're doing. This isn't funny. Uncle Frank's not answering, and I cut him off, my voice steady but cold. He's not answering because he knows, Mateo. I told him everything. I heard you and Rosa in Spanish, planning to take the cabin, talking about how you can't stand me. I understood every word. The line went silent, just their breathing, heavy and shocked. I could picture Mateo's face, pale, his charm crumbling. You've been learning Spanish? He finally asked, his voice small. Yeah, I said, a mix of pride and pain in my chest. I wanted to be closer to you, to your family, but I guess that was a one-way street. Rosa tried to jump in, her voice shaking. Sienna, we didn't mean, but I wasn't having it. Save it, Rosa. You made your choice. You both did. Frank's giving me the cabin, and I'm done with you. I'm filing for divorce. I hung up before they could respond, my hands shaking but my heart steady. For the first time in days, I felt like I was breathing again. The Blue Ridge Mountains stretched out before me, all rolling green and misty peaks, as I pulled up to the cabin. It was even more beautiful than I'd imagined. Log walls glowing in the sunlight, a porch that begged for a rocking chair, and a glass of sweet tea. Inside, it was all warm wood and open space, the kind of place that felt like a hug. Frank had given me the keys a few days after our call, and I'd spent every moment since moving in, making it mine. I hung bright prints on the walls, ones I designed myself, and set out cozy blankets my mom had sent as a housewarming gift. Every nail I hammered, every shelf I arranged, felt like a declaration. I was here, and I wasn't going anywhere. Mateo and Rosa didn't take it lying down. My phone buzzed with their texts, angry voicemails from Rosa, pleading messages from Mateo, even a few threats about taking back what's theirs. I didn't flinch. Each time they tried to intimidate me, I sent back a photo, a sunny shot of the porch, the fireplace glowing at night, the view of the mountains from my bedroom window. This is mine now, I'd write, and I could almost feel their frustration through the screen. Revenge wasn't something I'd ever chased before, but damn, it felt good to let them stew in their own mess. One evening, as I sat in the living room, a mug of coffee in hand, I let myself think about everything. I remembered the girl I used to be, the one who thought love meant giving everything, even when it hurt. I'd learned Spanish for Mateo, stayed up late perfecting recipes for Rosa, all to build a family I thought we shared. Their words still stung. Too young for her. Start over. She's too busy with her little designs. But the pain was fading, replaced by something stronger. I'd fought for myself, just like I'd fought through a childhood of empty cupboards and hand-me-downs. This cabin wasn't just a house. It was proof I could stand up to betrayal and come out on top. Frank called one night, his voice crackling with warmth. How's the cabin treating you, Sienna? I smiled, looking around at the space I'd made my own. It's perfect, Frank. I can't thank you enough. He chuckled. You earned it, kid. You've got heart and guts. Don't ever forget that. Maybe take a trip somewhere, clear your head. Savannah's nice this time of year. I laughed, the idea sparking something in me. I might just do that. As I hung up, I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. The future was wide open. Maybe I'd travel. Maybe I'd pour more into my designs. Maybe I'd just sit on this porch and watch the world go by. Whatever came next, I knew I was enough. Mateo and Rosa could keep their bitterness. I was done carrying it. This cabin, this life, was my victory, built on my own strength. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've been with me through the hurt, the fight, and the moment I took my life back. If this story hit you in the heart, hit that subscribe button and join us. Every corner of this cabin, every step I take, is a story of grit, heartbreak, and starting over. Keep chasing your own truth, and I'll see you on the mountain.